Okay, good afternoon to everybody. Ohio gozaimasu. Welcome to the Public Diplomacy Council of America's first Monday forum for the month of March, in with the USC Center on Public Diplomacy and the George Washington University Institute for Public Diplomacy and Global Communication. Very delighted to welcome you all both physically here at the Elliott School and our online audience for this very exciting program where we're going to look at grassroots exchanges and public diplomacy, and especially Japan's brilliant sakura diplomacy, cherry blossom diplomacy, which I think if Joseph Nye had thought about it when he came up with soft power, he might have also said beautiful and fragrant power, because Japan has been able to turn a tree into a global method of communication and exchange and love. And I think it's especially important to look at this form of cultural diplomacy at a time when the world is focused on conflict and war again, and we are thinking about all of the people we know and worry about in the Middle East, which is experiencing the conflict now, and particularly our colleagues at embassies across that region that are in many cases under threat of attack now. So at a time when missiles and bombs are falling in that region, it is nice to see cherry blossoms falling gently to the ground again as spring comes to the tidal basin and Japan and everywhere else where the sakura tree has become beloved. My name is Carl Stoltz. I'm the co-president of the Public Diplomacy Council of America. I'm delighted to be able to open the program today. Before I introduce the next speaker, just a little personal background. Unfortunately, to my great regret, because I bid on it many times, I never had the opportunity to serve as a diplomat in Japan. Sorry. But I did have an opportunity to work on Japanese issues in Washington, and I can confess here I was born in Japan, in Zama, Kanagawa, and my father was in the Navy, so that's why I was born in Japan. But because I was very young and we had a wonderful Japanese nanny, when I got to America when I was 2 years old, I did not speak English. I only spoke Japanese. Sadly, I have forgotten all of my 1 and 2 year Japanese, except Shoto Mate Kudasai, which is what my maid said to me all the time. With that personal background, I am delighted to introduce Ms. Paige Cunningham-Streeter, who is the director of the Japan-U.S. Friendship Commission, and that is an independent federal agency that supports research, education, public affairs, and education to strengthen our bilateral relationship and promote people-to-people partnerships, which is what we're talking about today. Before joining the JUSFC, Paige was for 16 years at the Maureen and Mike Mansfield Foundation, rising to deputy executive director. And the Mansfield Foundation also played an instrumental role in bringing Americans for extended periods of stay in Japan, as well as Japanese to America. And I think your experience with Japan goes all the way back to your own participation in a JET program many years before that. So everyone who has had a chance to visit Japan, especially during cherry blossom season, has fallen in love with the place, and then has a lifelong attachment, which we're going to learn more about today. So Paige, I'm delighted to introduce you.
Thank you so much, Carl. I appreciate the warm invitation and also this opportunity to speak on a topic that I care deeply about. Minister Odaira, President Powell, who I saw somewhere, I wanted to say thank you for this opportunity. I'm delighted to be part of this program, and also want to congratulate and applaud all of the sponsors and co-hosts and organizers of this program, because public diplomacy is in fact an important tool that we can use to promote individual mutual understanding and between the peoples of two countries. As both a consumer and a practitioner of public diplomacy, I've had an opportunity to have a front row seat and witness the ways that we can learn from each other's countries. And through cultural exchange, we can build trust and also pursue shared interests. My first experience to Japan was actually on a family vacation to attend the Osaka World Expo. It was in 1970. And the expo was Japan's occasion to showcase the post-war economic progress it had made and its technological leadership. I was honored last year to be able to return to Osaka in a professional capacity, where I was able to represent the Japan-US Friendship Commission because of a partnership that we have with the National Endowment for the Arts, providing funding to American artists who have a residency in Japan, collaborate with a Japanese artist, and these artists together produced a work of art that was on display at the US Pavilion in Osaka. Another important moment in my life, as Carl mentioned, was as a young professional when I participated in the JET program. The JET program is an opportunity for young professionals to be immersed in Japanese culture through a variety of experiences. I was an assistant language teacher, and I was living in Mieken, a very rural community where on a day-to-day basis, I immersed myself in Japanese language and culture. And it was that cultural exchange and the mutual understanding that happens inside and outside of the classroom that taught me not only about Japan and Japanese culture, but motivated me to want to be a bridge between the two countries. I mention these examples and experiences because they show us the important role that people to people and cultural exchange play in supporting mutual understanding and cooperation between countries. Mutual understanding is an essential in the trust and underpinning of the strategic and economic ties between the United States and Japan. The timing of today's program is especially meaningful. Later this month, Prime Minister Takaichi will visit Washington, D.C. for a summit with President Trump. This will be the second of their meetings together as leaders. The first meeting took place in Japan, and it was not only a significant meeting demonstrating the importance of the relationship between the two countries, but it was the conclusion that they reached when they said, in quotes, that they're looking forward together to take further steps for a new golden age of the ever-growing Japan-US alliance. As the global geopolitical environment becomes more fraught, more complex, enhancing the US-Japan partnership into the 21st century has never been more important. Not only are we awaiting and looking forward to that visit here in Washington, D.C., but we're also looking forward to the arrival of the cherry blossoms. And indeed, they are a wonderful symbol of not only the arrival of spring, but also the visual representation of the strong ties between Japan and the United States. I'm looking forward to hearing Minister Odaira's remarks and learning a little bit more about that important gift. And I appreciate all of the work and the support that each of you are doing in your own way to support public diplomacy and people-to-people exchange. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Adam Powell. I'm Director of Washington Programs for the University of Southern California, Annenberg Center for Communication, Leadership, and Policy. And as long as we're talking about Japan connections, I've made many trips to Japan for the university because in my last job in LA, all of the USC's Asia offices and centers reported to me. And so I was a frequent visitor to your country. And also, I can't resist that before then, I made a number of trips to Japan to visit my older son, who was teaching at your alma mater at Tokyo University, where he taught material science in Japanese, far beyond anything I could do. But to today's program, we're honored today to welcome as our principal speaker, the Minister of Public Diplomacy of the Embassy of Japan, Masatsugu Odaira. Before his assignment here last fall, Minister Odaira, as a graduate of Tokyo University's Faculty of Law, served mainly in international law and China affairs, including in posts as Director of the First China and Mongolia Division and as Director of the International Legal Affairs Division. He also worked in Japan-U.S. affairs in both economic and security matters, serving twice on the North American Affairs Bureau. Additionally, while serving as Deputy Director in the National Security Secretariat, he worked on legal issues in Japanese security policy regarding the Japanese Constitution in the context of the right of self-defense. He has also served as the Executive Assistant to the Minister for Foreign Affairs and to the Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs. He served abroad in China as counselor at the Embassy of Japan in the People's Republic of China. And now, here in Washington, D.C., Masa, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me today. And I'm very glad to standing here and speak about Japan and the Japanese diplomacy to you. Thank you for your kind introduction, Adam. And it's today I'd like to talk about Japan and the Japanese diplomacy, and beginning with cherry blossom trees. It's not about cherry trees of George Washington, And then as I know, you know that I wear the pink tie, so this is Japanese cherry blossom trees. And as Page-san said, our Prime Minister Takaichi is coming to the Washington D.C. In March, hopefully, and President Trump visited to the Japan last October. So the bilateral relationship between Japan and the United States have never been better based on the trust between the leaders. But the bilateral relationship, Japan-U.S. relationship, does not only rest on the leadership's trust, but also rest on the people and the human connections. And I was assigned to the Washington, D.C. in the last September, and it is my first tour to D.C. and first serve for the public affairs as well. So I'm not a public diplomacy expert, so I cannot, not be able to teach you guys. But over the past 6 months, I'm really impressed how deep and how broad the grassroots exchange between Japan and the United States. And this is very strong foundation to support the bilateral relations between the nations. So I'd like to share my kind of observations through these 6 months. And then, yes, so this is what my introduction. And then, yes, so let me start these pictures. So when you see cherry blossoms, what comes to mind? Washington, D.C., please raise your hand. And Japan, please raise your hand. And both, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Have you ever seen the cherry blossoms in Tidal Basin? Raise your hand. Oh, thank you a lot. Actually, I've never been there because I just came here last September. So I'm so excited to see the cherry blossom trees in Tidal Basin. But no, this reaction itself is a coup, and this is a public diplomacy at work. And let's see, you are the experts on the public diplomacy, so I don't want to dive into that theory. But these are the key ideas that I'd like to explore today. What is the public diplomacy and why it matters and why carries it out, who carries it out, and how do we promote it. And also today's presentation, I'd like to emphasize that the role of these three factors. The one is the public sectors, and the second one is the business sectors, and the most important one is the civil societies. I'll return them to them at the end. Oops. And now the story of the cherry blossom in Washington, D.C. And this story didn't begin with a government plan. So it began with one woman, travel writer, Eliza Sidmore. She is a journalist and a travel writer, and her brother was a diplomat, served in the Far East for 40 years. So in that connection, Sidmore often visited Japan. And then one day she fell in love with a cherry blossom in Japan, like this. This is Sumida Park's cherry blossom trees in Tokyo. And then these scenes are supposed to see, for her to see these scenes and fell in love with the Japanese cherry blossom trees. And she tried to persuade the Washington, D.C. Government officials and for 20 years to plant the cherry blossom trees along the Potomac area. So this is a beginning of the history of the cherry blossom trees. And also, actually, there are several versions of the history of the cherry blossom trees. So my version is based on the Ambassador Fujisaki's version. But there's several versions. And then one other guy is David Fairchild. He was a head of the agriculture department. He's a kind of a Indiana Jones of the plant kingdom, and he was the first person to plant Japanese cherry blossom trees in Washington D.C. in the Ceviches, where he lived. And he and Sidmore had chat a little bit, and then Sidmore was inspired by him to have an idea to plant cherry blossom trees with the Potomac area. And every time she approached Washington, D.C., but she was told no. And the one official warned that a child might climb the trees and hang up a cherry, and fell into the river. Oh, it's too dangerous. So no problem. And then she said, no worries. These cherries will not bear the fruit. So no cherries, so no danger to the children. But this official said, oh, no fruits or no cherries? It's useless. Why you planted? So I'm a bureaucrat. So bureaucracy is very good at finding a reason not to say no. Right? But this is the kind of story for 20 years for her. But one yes came from the White House. This was the first lady of the Helen Taft. And Helen Taft was the first lady, and his husband was William Taft, the president of the United States, inaugurated in 1909. And she, the First Lady Taft, launched a campaign to beautify the Washington area by planting trees along the Potomac River. And Sidmore approached her and then recommended Japanese cherry blossom trees should be planted in the Potomac River. And then First Lady Taft have experience to visit Japan. She knew the Japanese cherry blossom trees. Oh, and she said, "Oh, that's a very good idea," and she agreed upon the Sidmore's idea. And this means a civil society, the civil person, like one journalist, Sidmore, connected to the First Lady. But First Lady is not an exact organ of the government. It's a kind of a private person in some role. And then they connected. And then Japanese tour guides came to see Sidmore. And these two guys from New York. One is Takamine, Joichi Takamine. He was a chemist and an entrepreneur and discoverer of the Taka disaster medicine. And he was a kind of the leader of the Japanese society in New York. And the other one is a consul general in New York, Mr. Mizuno, Koichi Mizuno. And these two guys happened to come to the Washington, D.C. for a business trip and met with Sidomore. And Sidomore informed them of the First Lady's support on the planting the Japanese cherry blossom trees in the tidal basin area, on the Potomac area. And originally, the Mr. Takaichi was worried about some kind of an anti-Japanese sentiment was rising in the United States because at that time the immigration debates were intensifying. So, and he himself believes that cherry blossom trees would serving as a bridge between the people of the two nations. And so he himself was approached to the New York government and planting Japanese cherry blossom trees in Hudson River. And he came to the Washington, D.C. and connected Sidomore. And then he was expired. Oh, that was a good idea. And then Mr. Takamine, he was a businessman. So he offered to donate 2,000 cherry trees to the Washington, D.C. And Consul General Mizuno, he was a kind of diplomat, so he used to government. So he raised some ideas to upgrade that kind of gift. That means Mizuno proposed making this gift an official gift, not the private person's gift from the mayor of Tokyo. So these people are connected, that something may happen. And then Consul General Mizuno then advised the foreign minister, Komura, directly. So now the public sectors and business sectors and civil society, all sectors were beginning to connect. And then next player is Mayor Ozaki, the mayor of Tokyo City. He was a kind of famous father of Parliament of Democracy in Japan at that time. And then embassy here in the Washington, D.C. and the State Department has connected. So and then established the channels between the government to government, and then confirmed these plans as a governmental level. So and then Ministry of Foreign Affairs contacted the city of Tokyo, and Mayor Ozaki made an effort to obtain the approval from Tokyo City councils to donate 2,000 cherry trees, and he made it. But and also the Tokyo City could not afford the transport fee from Japan to the United States. But Nippon Yusen Line, this is a private company, transported these trees free of charge. So these people are all connected. And then we tried the first try, 1910. And these 200 cherry trees were transported to the United States, but the unfortunate thing happened. So, the U.S. Agriculture Department found insects on the 2,000 cherry trees. And then they informed, because they are worried about these insects will affected to the trees in the United States. So they informed Mayor Ozaki that all the 200 trees had to be burned, and it burned. And this is the story that truly matters, But if if the Japanese government or Japanese people given up at this time, the history only remember the failure and misguided gift is coming from the Japan. But Japanese government actually is one ambassador named Uchida. He tried to persist and make the second try. But actually, the U.S. government is very worried about it at that time. So the State Department directed to the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo. Japan should not make a second attempt until the proper safeguards were in place. That we should not make happen again. But Japanese people never give up. And then motivated, mobilize any experts and scientists and made an appropriate measure on the scientific basis and nurture the good Japanese cherry blossom trees and made a second try in 1912. And then 3,020 trees were specially grown under strict control, and they shipped it, and then made it. And then, the First Lady Taft and the Japanese ambassador's wife, Chinda, planted these 3,000 cherry trees in tidal basin in 1912 on March. So these stories tells us like science destroyed the trust and the persistence destroyed the credibility. And return to these slides. And what is a takeaway from this story? This story began with civil society, Civil Wars, a travel writer with a vision. And then First Lady of Taft, public figure, was engaged. And the businessman Takamine stepped in. Then Mizuno, the government officials, diplomats, through him, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and State Department, and the mayor of Tokyo was fully involved and formalized and supported this initiative. So when each actor work alone, progress is limited. But when they connected together, large things begin to move. And yes, and this is a kind of story. And then now the tidal basin area is it's not only the symbol of the friendship between the two nations, that became a platform for all Americans to get together. And this is a picture of the 1944 in tidal basin, and all Americans get together. And let me introduce one kind of poem, haiku, from the famous Japanese haiku masters, Kobayashi Issa. Under the cherry trees, none are utter strangers. So that means, across the generations, across the professions, across the different opinions, across the social backgrounds, American people get together because of the beauty, not for the debate, or not for the political position. So we are very proud to serve our cherry blossom trees as that kind of a platform for all Americans. And these cherry blossom trees create a space where public people are connected. And then now, as you know, the cherry blossom festivals will take place every year. And then next year is the 100th anniversary of the National Cherry Blossom Festivals. And we are really, really honored to be a part of this continuing story. And this year, as you know, the United States, this year marks the 250th anniversary of the America. And we will present 250 cherry blossom trees as a gift for the celebration of the America 250. And we made a kind of video and logo on that. And oops, sorry. Yes, maybe we posted this X. Yeah, and then we made a new logo for America 250, and we will make a pin. So I'd like to distribute to you as well. And this post get 1.6 million on X, views on X, and 20,000 likes on X. So this is a kind of emerging because X is a little bit discreting compared to Instagram, but we still use you have a way to use the X. And then let me return to the key question. So what is public diplomacy, why it matters, who carries it out, and how do we promote it? So you are the expert, so I don't describe in details, but traditional diplomacy is basically government between the government to government. But the public diplomacy is government to the people in the other countries. So it reaches beyond the official channel, it speaks directly to the citizens in other countries. And then not work it alone, but it collaborates with private sectors or other, with civil society or other with media and digital platforms. So this is a kind of the characters of the public diplomacy. And then also government can spread our narrative to the public. So as Professor Joseph Nye says, the mark of the greater power is not just whose army wins, but also whose story wins. So we have to create a good story, but we need partners to promote that kind of story. So, and also who actually, this is related to who actually carries out the public diplomacy. It's only government or it's only diplomat? Not at all. As you know, like baseball player Otani, he is a great ambassador actually a great ambassador in the United States. And also sushi or the Japanese food is very popular in the United States. And also like Japanese anime. Did you find Arisa Rios, like the gold medalist figure skate? She answered the questions and then she answered the top 5 animes that she likes. I don't know single of them, but these are the fantastic players, and this is creates improve our Japanese image enormously. And so our role in the embassy is a kind of the convening power. So get people together, like public sectors and then businessmen, the civil societies, and create a new thing, create a new platform to promote the public diplomacy. So that is why the embassy matters, the public diplomacy itself. And fortunately, we have a very good partners to promote our public diplomacy. One is the Japan-American Society across the United States. Already there are 39 Japan-American societies across the United States under the NAJAS, National Association of Japan-American Societies. The NAJAS is a kind of umbrella societies, but other than that, non-NAJAS Japan-American societies are still there, around 10 societies. So, and then 9.9 thousand individual members, and they create many variety of the programs related to the Japanese cultures or Japanese business and connected the people, stakeholders related to Japan. So they are the great societies in there. So we want to, of course, now some of the societies are very big and very enough capacity and enough resources to promote the event by themselves, but some are not. So we would like to support the week, but they really want to improve their capacity and promote their events. We are supporting that kind of the categories of the Japan-American societies in the daily work. And the other excellent supporter is JET alumni. So as Paige-san said, the JET is a kind of the initiative, the program or designed by the Japanese government, dispatching the American young people as a teaching assistant in English, as well as a kind of local government officials or other like people who support the PE classes or sports or something like that. And we running this program for 40 years, and then JET alumni amounts to 40,000 JET alumni. And then they create 19 JET chapters across the United States. And then after I came here, I have a lot of experience, a lot of time to spend together with the JET alumni. And they are so fantastic, you know. Even though they completed their program and when they they return back to the United States, but Japan is not only the memory for him. Japan is remains a part of who they are, and they have a very passion and to engage something in the Japan-U.S. relationship. And so JET program is starting from the kind of a studying program or exchange program, but it becomes becoming to be a kind of lifelong lifelong connection. So that is not what we made. That is what they made. So this is a great achievement. So we really like they have a lot of passion to promote the Japan-U.S. relations. So they are the very great partner to support our public diplomacy through various routes. And then the other thing I would like to mention is, of course, the business sectors. So as you know, Japan is the number one direct investment to the United States and doubled in the past 10 years and create 1 million jobs on the American people across all 50 states. And why the business sector matters is, from my perspective, we have to connect the business sectors and civil society, because on civil society, like for instance, Japan-American societies, they have a passion, but they don't have enough resources, financial resources. And then if we connect if we connect them, the business sector might provide the financial support to the civil society and these societies, and these societies can hire the additional staff to create to promote their events, and then they may increase the number of the members of the Japan-American societies, and they can improve their budgetary situation. And in return, these circumstances could benefit to the business sectors to invest to the United States. So I think we can create this kind of a good eco-cycle through the connection between the civil society and the business sector. So this is a graph, we skip that. And then this is a country rating. A little bit old figure in 2024, but Japan is number 2 next to the Canada, 83% with the total favorable rate. And the latest one is as of the February 2025, Japan's total favorable rate is 86, but Canada is 89, so still remains the second. But it's still good, right? So we are very proud of of this data. And also, the embassy and the consulate general has a convening power to connect the civil societies and business sectors with us and among them. So we have 18 embassy and consulate general, one embassy and 17 consulate office or consulates and offices. It's a very large number. Of course, Mexico has more than 50 branches in the United States, but Canada is also around, as far as I know, around 10 or something. So Japan is at 10 or 50, yeah, 10 or 12 or something like that. So Japan has a large number of the physical platform to convening power, to have a convening power between for the business and civil sectors. And then finally, the last part is let me introduce our platforms. We have a physical platform like embassy and ambassador's residence, where we have lots of receptions or and events for the convening to the other stakeholders. And the other one is we have old residence. Maybe somebody you might come already, and we have very fancy old ambassador's residence next to the embassy. So we use this for the event, and also this is the JICC, our cultural center, Japan Information Cultural Center. I put the QR code, so please take that QR code and to subscribe our mailing list. And we have a bunch of events of the Japanese, like lectures, a movie screening, art exhibitions, and the music performance and the education programs in the schools. And also, from the perspective of the whole Japanese government, we have another good kind of a partner. It's a Japan Foundation. It's Japan Foundation is funded by the Japanese government, but they are operated by the kind of private sector. So Japan Foundation is a robust promoter of the Japan culture and education beyond the government's reach. So we have two, New York and Los Angeles in the United States, but we have many branches all over the world. And then the other new initiative is a Japan House. We have 3 Japan House in the world, and one is in Los Angeles. And then normally, the government facilities are not allowed to generate revenues, and then funded by the government and operated by the government. But this Japan House is funded by the government, but operated by the private sectors. This is a new thing. So we hire the curators, and then they are very so fantastic, and then have bring a very creativity and flexibility in the exhibitions. The 5 roles are in the Japan House, like lectures and also design, very smart designs exhibitions, and also digital library or other internet something, and a shop and restaurant. So these are the new platforms for us, and we think we hope this venue works well in the public diplomacy as well. And lastly, I'd like to introduce some of the data of the social media. This is a ranking of the social media accounts and followers of the ambassadors or embassies in the whole world. And then, as you see, the Embassy of Japan in China and the Ambassador of Japan in China was the number 1. Get the followers and accounts. So I was a kind of China expert, and I served in Beijing for totally 5 years. And this data shows like still social media and direct to the Chinese people still works in China. And when I was in Beijing, I put very importance on the people-to-people exchange in between Japan and China, and because of such a political system, as you know, in China. So And then before the COVID, 10 million, or around 10 million Chinese people visited Japan for a tour or something, business per year. And assume that at that time, do you know WeChat as a kind of WhatsApp apps in China? And they posted some pictures, some photos or something where the Japan society is all very good or something nice and something like that. And then suppose that one Chinese people who have been in Japan posted some photos and influenced 20 people around them, like friends or families. It counts 10 million times 20, so it amounts at 200 million. So it's twice as the population of Japan. So it's a big number. So I think these approach through the social media in China, it still works at that time. But now a little bit the situation might be changed, but we should not give up that kind of direct approach even in China as well. So I should wrap up. So when we think about the public diplomacy, we often focus on policy. So for what message should we send, or how should we respond to the propaganda, or other which media should we engage, and how do we encounter negative narrative. All of that matters in real diplomacy, but it is not sufficient. So, and the country's image deepens through the human connection, not only the government's message. And then, as I described, the cherry blossom trees in the Washington, D.C. is not just a symbol of the friendship between Japan and the United States, but also a platform to connect all Americans, to connect all peoples between the Japan and the United States. So this is where the public diplomacy make it powerful. And in the long run, countries are not defined only by the stories they tell, but by the relationship they build. So public diplomacy is the strongest, not when we speak louder, but when we connect deeper. So I should stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And we invite your questions and comments. There is a microphone right there at the front of the room. I have another one. And while we're getting questions ready, I have a quick question, a point of information. That last slide you showed was really interesting because the Embassy of Japan and the ambassador from Japan were the only ones engaging in China in Chinese. The others are all in their national languages. Is that is that typical, or is that a special initiative that Japan tries to?
I'm not sure which other countries are doing, how they are doing in which language they use in the social media, but in the kind of the system of the education system in the Japanese foreign ministry, we cultivate many experts in the many regions. And then we dispatched the ministry dispatched the young officials to study the language in every countries for at least for 2 years. In my case, I studied in Beijing for 2 years by dispatching the foreign ministry. And then, for instance, we have many variety like Cambodian or other Swahili or something, any Arabic or many languages we use. So, and also Yeah, so when we talk about the public diplomacy, language is very important, and also, studying foreign language is not only not only formalize your career, but also increase your way of thinking. So I think that could enrich every diplomat's life. So I really enjoy studying language and directly to the local people.
Thank you. First question.
Yes, thank you very much for the trees, for the friendship, and for what the role Japan has played in my life. I have two quick questions. One is, could you elaborate a little bit more on what the plans are for the 250 trees once they get here? And the second thing is, how does the Fulbright Commission, the U.S.-Japan Fulbright Commission, complement the public diplomacy between our countries? When I was the cultural attaché in Japan, I made myself quite unpopular among my American cohort by voting with the Japanese to create a Fulbright program for American high school teachers to come for a month, giving it the Fulbright label. And that program, which over 6 years, I think, brought thousands of American teachers to Japan, really resulted in a revival of the Japan-America societies. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the first question. The 250 cherry blossom trees originally will be planted to the tidal basin area for the replacement of the some of the trees that ruined in the because of the flood. And then, but the details are now under the coordination with the National Park Services in the U.S. side. So you will know soon. And then, as for the Fulbright fellowship, yes, I think not only the Fulbright program, but also other like Mansfield program or other group like the U.S. military personnel who stationed in Japan before, or other like Japanese American, or these groups are also the very are the very good group of the people to promote or to make a partner with us. And then we embassy have a kind of reception to get people together who have experience in Japan through that kind of program, including a Fulbright program. So yeah, we really try to engage that people to remain the interest and remain the passion to Japan. And then we were hoping they would be a great partner to support Japan and the United States.
And I would just add that Japan is also one of the most active, if not the active, member of the Association of Pacific Rim Universities, which I think there are 4 or 5 in the U.S. and I believe 7 in Japan. So it's at the university level, the education exchange is quite strong. Yes, next question, please.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Shohei Seki from Kyoto News. The gift of cherry trees has a long history as a symbol of U.S.-Japan relationship, starting in 1912, with additional planting in 1965 events making the 100th anniversary in 2012. And this year, Japanese president 250 cherry trees to mark the 250th anniversary of the United States. And my question is, has Japan previously presented cherry trees to mark a major anniversary of U.S. independence, such as the 200th anniversary in 1976? Or is this the first time that cherry trees have been given in connection with the milestone anniversary of the founding of the United States? And in addition to that, what does this gift of 250 cherry trees mean for the U.S.-Japan relationship today? Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. The first one is, yeah, I think it could be, as far as I know, it should be the first time for the founding. Yeah, but no, 50 years ago, 200 years anniversary of the American Foundation. At that time, if my memory is right, the Prime Minister Mickey sent it to the cherry blossom tree to the West Coast, Seattle, California, Seattle and San Francisco and Los Angeles, I think. So I think this is my view, but when we promote public diplomacy, the government should make a good story that attract people to join. So in that sense, of course, the Japan-US something relationship 100 years old, it is one of the story, but we are presenting a 250 cherry blossoms for the 250th anniversary. That is also a good story to attract the people to join. And then also, this is also my perspective. Of course, this is a kind of this time's gift. It also presented long-standing friendship between the two countries, but also this cherry blossom trees will bloom in the future, the years to come. And then the young generation will enjoy that cherry blossom trees by additional 250 cherry blossom trees. So that is a kind of a great message to the young generation, the next generation, to last our friendship years to come. Thank you.
Not sure. Jenny, is this on? Okay, great. Yeah. So there's much discussion about the storytelling and all that. Now, where would be interesting perspective is turning that.
Yes. Yeah, so on the storytelling bit, as the previous two conveners mentioned, where to be very keen on your perspectives is turning those stories, turning that exchange, public diplomacy into practice in particular. So just to give you an example, someone I know who's actually exemplified public diplomacy, even though she's in private and nonprofit sector in the States, with not just Japan, but also Singapore, China, Germany, Switzerland, those countries, especially on infrastructure. What she often keeps telling me is that had those in California, had they 20 years ago been actually learning from Japanese planning practice, they would have had the whole high-speed rail system running by now instead of still half finished just for the first phase, for example. So how might we collectively, whether here in the US or also in Japan, better translate that into a practice? So namely, say here in the States, there's plenty we could be learning from Japan on, say, how to do not just infrastructure, but also institutions more effectively, namely state capacity, how government can actually deliver effectively in the public interest. So just interested in your perspectives on those points.
Oh, I'm not sure I understand correctly your question, but so you mean the
actual practice. So how do we actually ensure that with this public diplomacy that it leads to concrete improvements in the situation on the ground in either, ideally, both countries?
That's one of the questions that's been debated in this room among public diplomats, active and retired, which is how do you measure the impact of public diplomacy? And you showed, of course, investment, and you showed public opinion.
Yeah. So one of the the outcome might be that ranking, but it doesn't represent all pictures that how we connect or how our thought will be influenced or shared with Americans. So yeah, how on the ground, yeah. So diplomacy itself, it's very hard to measure in the figure or data to how much achievement we got. But yeah, in so far, I feel like when I was in the San Diego for more than 20 years ago, but now I came here and I feel like the image of the Japan is improving a lot compared to 20 years ago. So I think that kind of feeling shows our public diplomacy, or including the civil society, like otani or these Japanese food or something. Everything create a good image for Japan. So sorry.
We're almost at the end of our time together, but let's try to get 2 more questions in.
So I'm actually going to be giving the questions from the Zoom chat. They're basically the same question about the impact of Japanese pop culture and public diplomacy, and whether or not that has caused any issues with over-tourism in Japan. Just looking for your thoughts on that.
Yes. As he said, pop culture is very overwhelming, achievement or across the United States, and over-tourism is another issue we have to solve and deal with, and as far as I know, the current Japanese government policy is very welcome to the foreigners who observe the Japanese law and then or Japanese order, right? But they don't want to welcome. We don't take some measures to the foreigners, others. So maybe, and then our tourism agency has made a lot of effort to deal with over tourism itself, and of course the cheap yen is contributes that the over tourism itself. But I think we need to take a time to solve this problem. So, but that doesn't mean we have to. It doesn't mean we have to stop our public diplomacy. Thank you.
And Jim Fallows, you have the last question.
Thanks. I will try to make this quick. Thank you so much for this presentation. I wanted to turn your public diplomacy lens in a way around on you. We have people from many countries in the world in this room. Those of us who are Americans, almost all of us, have lived outside the United States for extensive periods and recognize the changing ways in which the U.S. is viewed in the world through good and bad times. What is the image of the United States in Japan at this moment?
Yeah, thank you very much for a very good question. But I can't represent all the Japanese people, but I just only represent my thoughts. But still, I love the Hollywood movies and Japanese songs, and then also there is that kind of sophisticated culture and lifestyle. These American cultures attracted us very much still. So I know you suggest some political situation, but something like that, but still we like and we admire that kind of to the American culture. I think this is so in that sense, the soft power of the United States is still so powerful. Thank you.
And of course, we have much more Japanese culture here in this country because we're seeing many more movies and television programs that are subtitled, which wasn't the case 10 years ago. Well, please join me in thanking our speaker. And
thank you very much. Thank you.
And to conclude our program, the program Program Co-Director of the Public Diplomacy Council, Judy Kang.
Thank you. If you remember last month, we are here and we said we are hoping for spring weather, especially fitting for today's topic. And I think it seems like our wish came through. You know, it's sunny, sort of. And if like a few snowflakes happen to fall later, perhaps we can think of them as an early hint of cherry blossom season. And in Japanese, they are a lovely expression, sakura funuki. Sorry, restart. Sakura fubuki no yona yuki, meaning snow falling like a cascade of cherry blossom pastels. So it has been my true honor and pleasure to help organize today's forum. This event was made possible in part thanks to our former PDCA President Sherry Mueller, who kindly invited me to the International Shidon House Gala, where I had the opportunity to introduce myself to Minister Masatsugu Odaira. Minister, thank you again for your gracious willingness to speak at our forum. And my sincere thanks as well to Ms. Paige Cunningham-Strader for your thoughtful opening remarks. Okay, so I would like to extend my thank you to Adam Clayton Powell III, our moderator of today's event, Carl Stoltz, PDCA co-president, for your welcome, the members of program and communication committee members, PDCA fellow Lam Tran, social media intern Sydney Maddox, the on-site preparation assistant, Jennifer Fang, and our greeters, Sherry Mueller and Mike Korb, and photographer Bruce Guthrie. Your collective efforts made today's First Monday Forum possible. Thank you so much. And special thanks to our First Monday Forum co-sponsors, USC Edinburgh Center for Communication Leadership and Policy, the GW Institute for Public Diplomacy and Global Communications. We are especially grateful to this month's special co-sponsors, the Embassy of Japan and the Japan Information Culture Center. Before our next First Monday Forum, we invite you to join us for a special event on March 12th titled Is Public Diplomacy Dead or Alive in the Era of America First? Featuring Carl Stoltz and Sherry Mueller, our current and former PDCA president. Details can be found in the PDCA weekly newsletter. Our next First Monday Forum will be on April 6th, Trends in International Relations Studies, Opportunities for Public Diplomacy. We will explore developments in IR curricula and their implications for diplomacy and public diplomacy studies, joined by current deans from various schools. Additional details are available in our newsletter and on the PDCA website. I'm also very happy to share that PDCA has launched its Instagram page. Thanks to Sydney. We look forward to connecting with you there and across our social media platforms. Thank you, everyone, joining us in person and online. And we hope to see you at our next event, if not sooner. Thank you.